It's October and I still haven't seen a horror movie, so I'm on my way to go watch Smile 2. I actually really liked Smile. I'm surprised people disliked it so much because it was just a cross between It Follows and The Ring, which are some of the best horror movies of, the century. If you haven't seen Smile, I would recommend it, and then I would stop watching this. But I kind of want to talk about the ending. The whole movie was a metaphor for dealing with your trauma and overcoming it. And then at the end of the film, when you think your protagonist has overcome the trauma as she defeated the evil Smile monster, turns out that's not what happened at all. Smile monster was still around and it won and it killed her. So I don't know what the point of the first movie was, because it basically was a pro-suicide movie. The only way to beat the monster is to kill yourself, essentially. Because if you kill yourself before it makes you kill yourself in front of someone, it can't pass the curse along. So someone just needs to take one for the team and off themselves. And then the curse kind of just goes away, it seems like. A weird movie to have a whole scene where you overcome your trauma and then at the end it doesn't matter and you give into your trauma anyways and kill yourself. Bad messaging, but I get it. You want to make a sequel, and it's hard to make a sequel if you defeat the monster at the end of the movie. I was a bit skeptical about watching this one, even though I enjoyed the first, mainly because the posters looked really bad. And I saw a little bit of the trailer. I tried to avoid trailers, and the trailer seemed awful. This did not seem like a good movie. And the first Smile, I thought, had one of the best trailers I've ever seen. I'm a trailer hater. Watching this first Smile trailer is what I imagine other people see when they watch trailers. They're like, oh, I'm gonna see this movie because of this trailer. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know how this movie is gonna be. Hopefully it's good. I even grabbed my Bunch of Crunch, so it's not a proper movie experience if you don't have a Bunch of Crunch. Even if I'm on a cut, I'll make an exception now. It's not a big deal to have one little box of candy during the week. So I'm walking now and it's a few days later. There were some technical difficulties after the movies, but this works out because I had time to marinate on my thoughts. I ran into a problem because on my Letterboxd, I gave the original Smile 3.5. However, I think this Smile is a 3.5, but I don't think this is as good as the original Smile. I think I knocked off half a star in the original movie because of my gripe with the ending and the messaging. Smile 2 is definitely bigger than the original. However, that doesn't mean it's better. The set pieces are quite a bit bigger and the stakes are certainly a lot bigger. I'm just gonna spoil this whole thing. The end of this movie is essentially the end of humanity. The demon, the curse, whatever it is, managed to spread itself to minimum 18,000 people in a stadium, maybe up to 30,000, unless it just chooses one victim if they do that for a third movie. But if it could spread to everyone, the whole world's cooked. If it's 18,000, I did this after the movie, my napkin calculation, if I remember correctly, would be it takes 5,400 years to wipe out humanity. But I'm convinced that we could just, unless it, kills itself in front of a bunch of people again, we can just outbreed the curse, but we'll see. It's basically a worldwide issue at this point. I don't remember ever laughing in the first Smile. It was very tense and the whole time I was kind of on edge. But this movie I laughed several times, even during this horror scenes. I don't know, I felt like they were leaning into comedy a bit too hard in this one, or just a lot of the set pieces just weren't scary to me. Nothing like the first one, mainly because it copied so many of the beats from the first movie. Spoiler, if you missed that earlier, I knew the friend wasn't there the whole time. I knew it was the monster just manifesting itself. And I knew we weren't in Sky's reality. We were simply in whatever the monster was creating. And I wasn't sure what was real and what wasn't. I was confident she didn't kill her mom, so that wasn't a twist for me. I didn't think we were in such a daze that we were essentially living 4 days inside a fake world created by this monster. The whole second half of the movie is essentially a fake out, so that is a bit disappointing to me. If you've seen the first one, you've essentially seen the second one. The monster's just 2-0, and no matter what you do, it just beats you. They have a plan in place to beat the monster, and it seems it would have been effective. But because it was effective, the monster just essentially took control right away and left no chance for the plan to be implemented. I would have enjoyed if they had actually stuck to the plan instead of following the exact story beats on the first movie. I was thinking a lot of things, the curse is pretty strong, right? It can curl a 35-pound dumbbell with one hand without much effort and bring it up to its face in essentially a strict curl. I don't think the world's strongest men would be able to curl a 35-pound weight and make it move as smooth as the monster did. So I think it might be slightly stronger than the strongest human alive. However, it doesn't have fighting technique, and the whole time in the movie I was thinking, what happens if this thing cursed John Jones? Because a lot of times it attacks you when it's one-on-one, but John Jones would fuck up this monster. Any trained combatant would absolutely mess up this monster. However, In the movie, where essentially I think it all becomes a fake reality, Sky gets attacked by essentially all her background dancers. So it's a 15-on-1. And at that point, there's nothing you can do. But if it decides to attack you one-on-one and you're like an elite fighter, can you beat up the Smile Monster? I'm convinced you actually can. And a big part of it is it's trying to scare you and beat you that way. But you're not going to scare a psycho like John Jones. Like, John Jones is going to attack that thing right when it pops up, and he's just going to beat on it. I don't know. These are the questions that haunt me when I watch horror movies. Like, how practical can we get? What are the actual implications of what it's implying? I still think the only way to beat the monster is just to off yourself right away, like by yourself. You just need to off yourself, and maybe dispose of your body so that no one can recover it and get traumatized that they ran across you. The real testament of this movie, I guess, is that I would watch Smile 3. I need them to change up the formula, though, or else I'm going to be pretty disappointed. The monster needs to finally take an L, or it just can't be the same exact story beats. If it's going to be the same thing, I'm done after the third movie. But I'll give the next one a watch for sure. Some other things I wanted to note: Sky, the main actress, is amazing. Like, she should have a great career ahead of her. She was super convincing. I thought she nailed the role. She did a really good job. The opening sequence where we follow our cop from the first movie was an awesome set piece. And I thought he had a really good plan for dealing with like the smile curse. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, so Sky had to die. As far as I can remember, this is the first live action movie I've seen where a singer has a bunch of songs, and I thought they were very believable and they could become popular in our world. I thought the songs were pretty good and they felt like any pop bullshit that I hear on the radio. Like, if you told me this person was a real singer and was out there and performing and people really liked her and she was going on a world tour, just like in this, I would totally buy it. I would have no issue with that. I talked about the Terrifier last week. I think it is very cool that Smile's also become a pretty popular franchise. I prefer something like Smile much more than the Terrifier franchise, but it's cool that we have options, and it's always exciting to see new franchises pop up. It always seems like everything's a sequel or a remake, and yeah, this is a sequel, but it's a sequel to a new franchise made in the 2020s, so I'm all for it. The TV show I'm on is very stressful, and they just offered me to work Saturday and Sunday, so I'm going to take advantage of that. So we might have another walk and talk video next week, but I swear I'm trying to make another sit down, thought out video. I really want to talk about why your favorite TV shows take so long to make. However, I'm on one of those TV shows now that is taking quite a while to make, and we are doing our best to finish. But I think it'd really help for people that aren't in the industry to understand why it takes shows so long to finish. I read a lot of articles and they nail, I would say, like 50% of it, but a lot of the time they don't know because they don't work on shows, so they don't know the actual minutia of it all. I can give you the actual nitty-gritty. So look forward to that video. It's probably not gonna be next week because I gotta work this weekend, but the following week I hope to get that out. Thanks for watching.